Denver at home against Boston. Celtics continue their road trip. Denver's only 2, and they're I don't know what's going on here. It's up to 210. I can't figure it out. The Nuggets are 8-1 straight up. They're 7-1-1 against the spread. Could be 8-1, depends how you want to grade it. They're 7-2 to the under. They are number 3 in defensive efficiency. Malone's done the impossible. He's getting them to play defense. 8-1. Golden State's 9-1, and they beat Golden State. The only loss at Los Angeles, they were up 8 in the fourth quarter. Celtics, number 1 in defensive efficiency. They are 27th in offense. It doesn't make sense while they're betting the over here as well, as the Nuggets are off to a hot start. Celtics off the tough loss as Oladipo buried them in Indiana. What a story here by Malone and the Nuggets early on as they try to go to 9-1 and continue this great run playing low-scoring games. Also held Golden State to under 100 points.
Sure, and this is heavy steam. This isn't a little bit of steam coming in on the over in this ballgame. Every morning, I do a ticket, and I send over the numbers at the time, and then once in a while you got to adjust. And then I had to adjust again, and then I had to adjust again to get that graphic to read 210 on this ballgame because it's been steady steam all morning on this over. And you mentioned it. Denver 7-2 ATS, 7-1-1 ATS, 7-1-1 to the under. The Celtics, number 1 in defensive efficiency in the NBA so far this season, and number 20 in pace. So their defense has been great, and they're not running up and down the court. And yet, over money pouring and pouring and pouring in. It hasn't stopped, at least not so far. It may stop, obviously, some point this afternoon. Now, Denver off 4 straight wins. They stepped up in the fourth quarter against Utah in their last game out. Jazz, of course, didn't have Donovan Mitchell in that ballgame. You talked about that only loss. And when you want a team to retain value, where do you want them to lose? Any national TV game they play. And that's exactly what happened against the Lakers. They lost that TV game. Lo and behold, they held their value, and the money has continued to not come in on Denver in oodles the way that it might if we see them win tonight. Now, Denver, not like they don't have defense. They're number 3 in defense efficiency, Paulie. And they got 4 different scorers between 13 and 19 points a game. Gary Harris is the most anonymous star in the NBA. And there's a lot of people out there, they can't name 2 Nuggets, By the way, the other 3 scorers between 13 and 19, the Joker, Jamal Murray, and Paul Millsap. It is a very balanced offense and a team that's playing good basketball, but don't sell Boston short off a loss, Paulie. They've been very, very good at bouncing back off a single defeat.
Well, it's a tough road trip, and it's a hard place to play, and we'll see if those fans buy in. They were near the bottom in attendance last year. They're off to their best start since the mid-'70s, and this is a great turnaround with Denver here. We're playing with all these unders in the start they're off to as well with Malone. I think maybe the reason for the move, the Celtics have been shooting a ton of threes. Yeah. So, it would take time as Hayward comes back and Kyrie comes back, and Kyrie struggled early on, and it's going to be hard for Hayward to get a lot of minutes too, but they were bombing a lot of threes, and they're lucky. Remember, they had almost did an NBA record in that Milwaukee game, and were lucky they won. So it's a lot of things that Stevens has to fix here early on with the Celtics.
Sure, they hit 24 threes against the Bucks and needed every one of them to win and cover, although that might speak something about Milwaukee, who's been a pretty good team for bettors in early season play. But the Celtics, 6 guys averaging in double digits. Very balanced. Nobody averaging more than 32 minutes a game. That's deep, deep rotations for Brad Stevens, and that's what you want when you're playing in altitude in Denver. Boston, off a loss. They've won every game so far this season off a loss. They haven't covered. Sometimes they've been laying, but they've been very good at bouncing back off a defeat. And, of course, the concept of the Celtics getting points, that, too, has been a concept that makes sense for Boston backers in this ballgame. 6 of the Celtics' last 7 games have been decided by 6 points or less. 4 of them have been decided by 3 points or less. They've been good at winning the close games. They won 4 of the 6 close ones. But the bottom line is Boston isn't blowing teams off the floor. They're not getting blown off the floor. Celtics, the underdogs for in Celtics teams have done very well. And, oh, by the way, that loss against Indiana, the one you saw the highlights with Oladipo hitting the 3 at the buzzer, that came right after Kyrie Irving missed a layup. He was not pleased after the game. I smoked the layup. That's what it comes down to. I think Boston comes into this one with a little bit of a chip on their shoulder. And things I'm not going to do this year, bet against the Celtics off a loss. It's Boston or pass for this bet. Like the show? Help us keep the lights on. Please make sure to comment, share, and subscribe to all the Sportsbook Review videos. Thanks so much. Best of luck. Enjoy the game.